Hello again. My name is John and I am a nobody. I'd like to share with you tonight a wonderful evening I had with one of my heroes. Now, before you all go, oh no, he's not going to do another bass player story. Well, I'm afraid I am. Bass playing is a bit like having a dirty little secret you shouldn't talk about, especially if you're fond of bass players and you're fond of the history. Everybody knows singers, but nobody knows bass players. It's a bit like, fingering vigorously that annoying, itchy hemorrhoid you have, or something you shouldn't talk about, really. And it's a passion that stayed with me for a long time. Now, this is a person that you should really know. He should be a household name, but he isn't. And I had the great fortune of spending an evening with him. If you've ever heard the record Jesus Christ Superstar, you might know his bass playing, or if you've heard any Roxy music, the later Roxy music stuff, maybe the intro, the fantastic intro to Manifesto, that was him. It was Alan Spenner, and he was a fantastic bass player and very much in demand. He played in some famous bands in Britain. Anyway, the thing about him was he hated flying, so he'd get really tanked up before he had to take a flight. And when he was working on the first album of the singer of Roxy Music, whose name is Brian Ferry, they were going to do it in Switzerland, and Alan Spenner got really tanked up, as I said, and the flight got diverted to somewhere in Ireland, Dublin, I think. And so he got off the plane, went straight to the bar, and got tanked up again. So when they got to the studio in Switzerland, he was so sozzled that they had to wait for 2 days for him to sober up. And these were the old days when you'd usually start with the bass and drums. So they just sat around not doing anything for 2 days. It's not like today where you just, put on a drum machine and some stupid bass line that is just an offbeat, really. So it just goes These were the days when artistry counted and not computers. Anyway, what happened with him was I was in London working on a record at the Roundhouse, and as a lyricist, I should add, and I went to the kitchen and looked at Time Out magazine, which was then, maybe still is, the magazine to check if you wanted to see what was going on in London. And there was a little advert in there that said that Kokomo were playing. Now, Kokomo were an English blue-eyed soul band who sounded so great and so American. They sounded like they were from Philadelphia, but they were an amazing band. And I don't know if it's true, but I heard the story that they had actually been signed to a label, and the label had another blue-eyed soul band on that they wanted to push, so they put Kokomo on the back burner. Whether that's true or not, I'm not sure. Anyway, Alan Spenner played with Kokomo, and so I was unbelievably excited. So I went down to the Red Lion pub, which was in Wimbledon, which you might be familiar with, and I thought, oh my God, it's going to be so packed with people. I won't be able to get in. So I went down there as quickly as I could, turned up at the door of the Red Lion. There was nobody at the door. I just walked in, and they were doing the sound check. Kokomo were doing the sound check. I went up to the bar, ordered myself a Guinness, and just watched them, the creme de la creme of, English musicians, just finishing their sound check. And then 3 of them came over to the bar to get a drink, And one of them was Alan Spenner, my hero. Then there was Mel Collins, who was a fantastic saxophone player who was very famous on the English scene. And the great Neil Hubbard, who was a guitar player, brilliant, and later played for Roxy Music as well. And they came over, and I was very polite, of course. I called Mr. Spenner, I said Mr. Spenner, not Alan, and would you like a drink? And he was amazed that I knew him, that I'd even heard of him. This living legend at the time is sadly no longer with us. And I bought him a drink, and in fact, I bought him drinks the whole night, and it was a wonderful experience. I've never enjoyed spending money so much. And the two backing singers, one of them was a small gay guy who'd been working with Terence Trent's Derby, who'd had a hit in those days. And he said, John, because I was allowed to sit at their table, the band table, and he said, John, I only do that stuff with Terence for the money. It's like, this is where my heart is. It was a wonderful, wonderful evening. Alan Spenner had all his equipment stolen from a van, which is a lesson to us all. Don't leave your musical instruments and your amplification in a van overnight or a car overnight. Don't do it. So he was playing that evening on borrowed equipment, which was heartbreaking. He used to play two basses, and he had this big Ampeg amp, which were all stolen from him. And he was playing wonderfully that evening, and I had the time of my life, just sitting there and chatting to all these people who were lovely and should be all household names. So it's three for you to remember. Alan Spenner, obviously, the bass player. Neil Hubbard, great guitar player, great sound player. He just does sounds. It's just brilliant. And the saxophone player I mentioned, Mel Collins. All brilliant. And I just wanted to share that with you because Alan Spenner is a name that you should remember because he was great. I've left some videos down, or a video down below, of Alan Spenner playing with Roxy Music. And if he were still alive, according to Brian Ferry, he would still be in the band because he was so great. And you'll see the enthusiasm, the rhythm, the love of playing that he has and encapsulates. So thank you very much once again for watching this little clip, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Before then, enjoy yourselves and take care of yourself and those you love. That's important. And all the very best, and tschüssikowski.